Trump floats 1 year, 10% credit card interest rate cap, what that could mean for your money. Rob, I think you got a clip on this one if you want to pull it up. I'll read the story, and then I'll come to you. Here we go. Effective January 20th. Is this when he's saying that, by the way, or is that he wrote it on Truth Social?
About the credit card companies. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Play the clip.
Of the law.
Can you go back a little bit, Rob? We missed it.
Well, then they're in violation of the law. Very severe things. No, I want a cap on credit card interest rates because some of them are 28, almost 30%, and that the people don't know they're paying 30%. The people out there, they're working and they have no idea that they're paying 30%. No way. We're putting a 1 year cap at 10%. And that's it. They know it. They've really abused the public. The credit card companies have totally abused it. I'm not going to let it happen.
All right. So abuser, let me read this to you. Effective January 20th, 2026, I, President Trump, this is on Truth Social, I'm calling for a 1 year cap on credit card rates at 10%. A credit card rate cap is enormously popular with Americans, said Matt Schultz, chief credit card analyst at LendingTree. That's why we've seen big names on both sides of the aisle propose credit card rate caps in recent years, including President Trump, who also floated the idea on the campaign trail 2024. Currently, about 175 million people in the U.S. credit card. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, while some pay off the balance each month, roughly 60% of credit card users have revolving debt. The New York Fed said that means they pay interest charges on the balances they carry from month to month. About 61% of credit card holders with credit card balance have been in debt for at least 1 year, up from 53% late 2024, according to Bankrate survey. The average credit card interest rate in the U.S. fell to 23.79% in January, marking the lowest level since March of 2023. Mark, I'll come to you first. Thoughts on the story?
Yeah, I think when I hear this, I just think about the late stage fiat system that we're in. It's systemic to that. It's the same reason why Trump and Powell are openly fighting right now. We have inflation that's raging. People can't afford to live. And at the end, what the leaders always try to do is try to appease the people by price fixing. It always comes down to that. We can't stop prices going up because we can't stop printing money. So how about we'll just cap prices? And so whether that's rent controls, Elizabeth Warren wants to cap the price of turkeys for Thanksgiving, or it's credit card rates. The problem with price controls is we have 1,000 cases of it not working. And just from philosophical level, you can understand why. So for example, credit cards, banks is a very competitive industry. Credit cards are very competitive, and they're trying to get as many customers as they can, and they're constantly trying to undercut each other. In order to get more customers, who cares what credit card you have? You think about the rate. And so it's very, very competitive. And so they want to get as many customers as they can without blowing themselves up. And so they're already trying to get rates down as low as possible. They understand that people can just change balances from one card to the next. And so if they could lower rates, they certainly would. The problem is when you cap it at 10%. First of all, he said it's illegal. So there are already caps, right? There are usury laws. So there are already caps, but he wants to lower it to 10%.
What is it right now, by the way, Mark? Do you know what it is right now?
I was a California finance lender. I should know. It was in the high 20s.
It was in the high 20s.
Yeah.
Rob, can you pull up what the numbers are right now, what the current cap is right now? Mark, finish your thought.
Yeah.
I just want to.
So what I was saying is that it's already competitive. Credit card companies are already competing to bring the rates as low as possible. And what happens is if you cut the rate to 10% or 8% or 18%, whatever that number is, everybody that wouldn't qualify for that rate is then left without credit. And that will then drive people either to the BNPL or drive them to their back alley, neighborhood loan shark. And so people need money, especially, like I said, with this fiat system as we have today. People are falling further behind. They're using credit to augment their lifestyle. And yeah, if you cut them off at 18% or 15 or 10% as Trump is floating out, it just cuts off a huge segment of the population that needs it.
It's interesting, Rob. Is it really saying there's no existing cap right now on credit cards? No existing cap. That's really what it says. So there's no cap right now on credit cards.
Usury laws don't apply to credit cards is what it says.
Is that what it's saying? Where do you see that? Oh, state usury laws generally don't apply to credit cards because most major issuers locate themselves in states like Delaware, South Dakota, or Missouri that exempt credit card debt from strict caps. Wow. Okay. Tom, go for it. Thoughts on this?
So there's a couple things here that we can go back and look at real case studies. In late 2021, early 2022, credit card companies reduced people's credit limits across the board because the economy was tough. And so they were handicapping the fact that, a lot of people are probably going to go for cash advances because money was tight, but they were going to have issues paying it back. So during the COVID crisis, credit card companies across the board went in and adjusted down caps on the lowest third of consumers. It happened. And guess what? What that means is we've seen the playbook. We know how they respond to stress. So that wasn't the government telling them. That was all of us in the boardroom of Visa saying, hey, the lowest third is starting to take a lot of cash advances, guys. Should we lower? These people have a $25,000 limit. Should we lower it to 20? Just send out the notice, lower it right now. Yes, let's do it. Because they were mitigating risk. So we've seen that happen. Point one. Point two is what you have right now is the credit card companies are competing with each other. The reason the rates are coming down a little bit is because the federal rate was cut a little teeny bit. So the rates are coming down because they're trying to compete with each other. This is why Capital One has spent billions of dollars in the last 5 years on consumer advertising. What's in your wallet? They want it to be the Capital One card. So they're competing with each other very, very stridently. What's going to happen if you put the cap, it's just like COVID. They're going to lower the limits and people are going to turn to BNPL or other things. Now, this is well intended by the president during a time of affordability, but I think right now the credit card companies operate in states that are most favorable to them, sure, but also they're competing with each other. If one of them could get more customers by going to 19.99%, you'd see one of them do it tomorrow morning and be shouting from the rooftops, hey, your alternative to Capital One is me. Get Tom's credit card, maximum 19%. They would be competing with each other. There is an active market and it's working well, and I don't think it needs this control on top of them. Like they haven't discovered this is lead-based paint.
I wonder whose idea this was. Like I wonder if where Scott Besson lies with this idea. I really wonder what Scott's at with this. Brandon, go ahead, because I got a bunch of, I got one number I just pulled up right now that when I share it with you guys, you're going to be blown away when I share this number with you in a minute. But go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I was just thinking it's as if they're sitting in a room saying, all right, this cost of living thing is becoming a problem.
Yeah.
Everybody's still talking about it. What's something we could, what's a bone that we could throw at the public and appease them a little bit and make them feel like we're doing something? And this is a good start to that. I think it's a good idea. I think maybe student loans would be a better place to either cap or remove interest rates because I think they've already been paid back a lot of time in terms of like without the interest. Like I think that just paying back the loan would be enough. But yeah, like this, it's an example of lobbying. The reason that I don't think there's a limit on it. That's probably why, because it's like the same thing as loan sharking. It's just like legalized loan sharking in a lot of cases. But I think it's good for inflation because like more debt equals like a higher cost of goods and services. So like it would create probably a crash type of situation. Like the Great Depression is like the biggest example of like deflation. But that's the thing that's unfortunate is like you have to like weigh like an economic downturn versus the cost of living. You can't really have both of them be ideal.
Yeah. So affordability, like there's a story that came out that the president reached out to Elizabeth Warren about the. Did you see that story this morning, Rob? I thought I saw it correctly. Can you type up Trump Elizabeth Warren affordability? I may be wrong, but I thought I just saw it early this morning. Is that it?
Yeah, there's stories today about the phone
Warren
call.
on affordability. Okay, so they had a conversation this morning. And keep in mind, this 10% idea, do you know whose idea this was? If I tell you right now who proposed this idea last February 2025, who do you think it was?
Was it Warren?
Nope, but a person like that. Who do you think it was?
Bernie?
Bernie Sanders. Bernie proposed this idea last year. He put this on the table. I think, can you type in Bernie Sanders 10% credit card? There it is. Sanders-Hawley introduced bill capping credit card interest rates at 10%. Now, both of those are heavyweights on each side. Hawley's a heavyweight. Sanders is a heavyweight. For a socialist/communist to agree with a capitalist conservative on the 10%, this is where the independent in the middle will look at this and say, well, if both of these guys are on it, I'm willing to entertain it. So libertarian and independent will say maybe this is not a bad idea, but here's what you got to be thinking about. So if you lower it to 10%, the banks are going to sit there and say, our profits got hit. This is what the gentleman was saying last night to us. And then they lend less. If they lend less, the small business owner takes a hit. Because who will they always lend to? They're always going to lend to the guy that doesn't need money. They're all, how much you need? $100 million, 50 years? Take it, whatever you want, right? Because they know that guy's going to pay the money back. But this is the number where I do believe there's an argument there. And some people may say, well, Pat, if you really believe in free market capitalism, what's wrong with this? Here's a question for you. What is an average business's EBITDA? Restaurants' EBITDA is what? What's a restaurant's EBITDA?
10%.
Yeah.
Lucky if you're there, 5 to 10%.
5%.
They get their asses handed to them, restaurants, right? Okay. What is a healthy business's EBITDA? What do you think it is?
10 to 20.
10 to 20 would say pretty healthy, right? Now, if you're running a software, technology different. So let's set those aside, the 30, 40%, like I'm talking Salesforce. What do you think is the profit margin of what these credit card companies are making? What do you think it is? If you don't pull it up yet, because Rob, I want to see what they're going to say before you ask the question. What are profit margins at credit card companies such as Visa, MasterCard, and American Express? But don't press enter yet. What do you think the number is? 30%. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to go more in line with restaurants.
5 to 10%. Where are you going to be, Tom?
Well, they're charging interest rates on one hand at the rates we're seeing, but on the other hand, they're only making 2.5% on the actual transaction. So I'm going to blend it and go 4.
You're about to be shell-shocked. Go ahead, Rob. Ask the question and show them what it is. Net profits for Visa is 47 to 52%. MasterCard is 45%. Amex is 14 to 20%. So to me, are you flipping kidding me?
Yeah.
They're printing money. Like every single year. I remember I bought Visa stock like 10 years ago, and all you had to do was keep it.
Yeah.
But are you getting a credit card with Visa or are you getting with Capital One? So are we looking at the wrong number? Because Visa's making the money for processing transactions, so their net profit's very high. American Express is the card issuer, and so see how much lower
14
their
to
rate is,
20%.
14%. So I think really we have to look at Capital One, not Visa, right?
You're thinking more, but you think they're targeting Capital One. I don't think they're targeting Capital One.
Visa's making all the money from processing the transactions. They don't have the cost overhead, the risk. They're not making the slim margins on the spread. So I think you'd have to go to the actual card issuer, like a Capital One.
That is giving the debt to the clients?
That's giving the debt because they're the ones that are making the
Okay,
spread.
so
They're using the Visa network.
So why don't we do this then? Let's ask the question with those guys. What is the profit margin? What are the 5 credit card companies we want to put? We saw Amex 14 to 20%.
Scroll back up a second where it said Amex. So
Yeah.
see where it said
14 to 20%.
Yeah, but see what it says right there? Amex also acts as a credit issuer and bears credit risk. So see,
Amex is slightly different,
so
though.
MasterCard and Visa they're not issuers. They don't
Right.
bear credit risk.
Well, why don't you give the companies? What are the top 5 credit card companies? Give the names. Capital One. Okay, so let's say, what are the profit
Citi,
margin?
Discover.
Perfect. So why don't we do Discover, Citi, Capital One? Maybe let's ask the question this way. What are the top 5 credit card companies in America? What are the top 5 credit card companies in America? So to me, it says the top 5 credit card companies in America are, it says Visa,
Bank of America.
Global Payment System, 55. It says MasterCard. So I'm trying to see what are the credit card companies. Citibank, you see, goes back to Chase, B of A. So why don't you ask?
I would exclude the banks because obviously they're going to have profits from other areas. But I think Amex, I think Capital One.
Citi's also a bank, though, right? So if you put
Right.
Citi.
Right, that's why I said Capital One.
So let's look at Capital One. Rob, if you want to do this.
Maybe Discover that you called.
Why don't you do that? Do Capital One, do Discover, and what was the other one you said? Capital One, Discover, and add one more. Was there one other one that we wanted to add?
I thought Capital One swallowed Discover, but anyway.
Okay, let's just see what is their profit margins, what kind of money they're making. What is their margins here? Man, Visa.
Well, we're waiting for that to come up. I mean, just price is 101.
19% for
Oh,
Amex.
look
We
at
saw
that.
that one.
Look
So
at Capital One right there.
barely
Interesting.
making any.
Negative 8.8.
What is Discover?
25.
Minus 25%. based on
No,
recent
that's,
trade.
that's not a minus. That's an approximate.
But again, Discover
25. So Discover makes 25%. Capital One makes 5%. Amex makes 14%. More traditional bank with significant loan book. Margin varies with credit cycle. Discover pre-merger performance showed solid profitability, stronger than many, what does that say, Rob? Banks?
Thanks.
Bank issuers.
Bank issuers.
Yeah, if
okay,
you go, if
how
you
do you
go up,
process this?
If you go up and read Discover, if you scroll up just a tad right there, you'll see Discover also has additional income that's sort of like a Visa, MasterCard network. So really the best proxies for this, I think, are American Express and Capital One, because they're like the credit issuers. They don't benefit from people using their network.
So then let me ask you, if they're doing this, and if they remove the interest rate from what it is to 10%, how do these guys make money, if that's the case? Because Visa and MasterCard, they're printing money.
They'll make money on the top half, you and me, and they'll start to bleed on the bottom half, and they will have to reduce, credit available balances, credit limits. They'll have to reduce them. This is what he was saying last night. They'll go wham and stop everything at the bottom and then leave everything at the top.
Well, what they'll do is they're going to call you and they're going to triple your credit line because you're going to pay it back, and then everyone else are going to cut theirs.
How do you make money off me, though?
Well, because you'll use your credit card and you'll pay it back.
Transaction fees.
Transaction fees.
But how much is that, though, Tom? I'm going to pay back. And I
No, it's
pay back
they'll
on a
make
monthly
3%
basis.
every time you use it.
So it's really the 3% of usage.
Correct.
You now want to lower it to 10 points? I don't know. What I like the fact that Hawley and Sanders are both entertaining it. Do you think this is a net good thing for low middle income families?
Yeah. Does the product market need scrutiny? Yes. Does it need to maybe tighten some things up, plain talk disclosures and things like that? Sure, it can always benefit. Does it need the government to put a cap on how much profit it can make? No.
Business 101, if there is a fat margin to be made, competition will come and eat the margin. That's just the way it works.
How is Visa and MasterCard not had anybody else that come in?
Well, that's because they're
They're
on the
making
network.
45 to 55%.
But they did have Amex come in, they did have Discover come in, but now they've also had PayPal, BNPL, so they are having lots of competition now. And now we're seeing stable coins that will start taking over. So I think they do have some competition, but they have the benefit of owning the network, and owning a network is where you reap
Make
the
the
rewards.
big money. It has
toll
to flow
booth.
through you.
The network effect.
Would you say, Tom?
The toll booth. They own the toll
What
booth.
a business to be in, though, if you think about it, right?
Oh, yeah.
What is the biggest crypto credit card? Is there a Bitcoin? Is there anything like that right now where it's a competitor of what a Visa and a MasterCard would be?
I mean, there are, but they're through the banks, so they're credit card banks because the credit card
So
bank
they
is
still
issuing the
need
credit.
them.
Yeah, it's still credit. It's still a credit product. So like Gemini, for example, released one, right? Or Coinbase released one, but it's with a major issuer. I think Coinbase is through Amex, I believe. So they use a credit issuer for that.
Rob, can you do me a favor? Just go to Visa. Go to Visa, market cap, go max. Go Visa, market cap, go max. Go max all the way to the right. Look at that.
Jeez.
Zoom in. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you lose money with this?
Yeah.
This is one of those things. $625 billion market cap. What was it in 2011? Go to 2011 market cap. 2011, Rob.
This is a Warren Buffett efficient capital business.
It really is. If you look at
They
it, what's
just
the
own.
market
They own the
cap?
network. They own the. It's like Coca-Cola, right? They own the patent on the syrup, but they don't even make the bottles.
Look at this. Market cap in 2011, 67 billion. Market cap today, 650 billion. It's you know, this is not a recommendation to you guys, but if some of you guys are conservative and you want something long term, you almost have to go through this network. For those of you that run small businesses, this is one thing that most people are not aware of. We run a consulting firm, ourselves called David Consulting, where we do engagements with around 10,000 businesses from 60 plus countries around the world. And this is 75% of our business. It's one of the best kept secrets we have in our company that no one knows about. If you come to our office and you see how we grew 9 employees just a couple of years ago to now 165 full-time employees, and if you go downstairs on where David Consulting is at, the energy there is electrifying. If you're a small business owner yourself anywhere between 10 million plus $500 million revenue. If you're on that range and you want to find a way to get strategies, because each phase of a company goes through 5 phases, and each phase you have 5 challenges you face. If you want to know what those things are, go to betdavid.com, all the way to the bottom, fill out the information. We'll give you that 18-minute breakdown of what those 5x5 are. And then if there's a way we can help you take your business to the next level, whether you're raising capital, whether you have a compensation plan that needs to be readjusted. We just had the most incredible meeting last week with our firm on Tuesday and on Thursday, whether it's comp, whether it's LTIP, equity, whether it's expanding in a new market, regulation, marketing, podcast, different ways of getting your story out there. You want to learn more about how we can help you out, go to betdavid.com, fill out your information. One of our consultants at the firm will get a hold of you. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.